I do.
Hello, here we are. Sorry, late again. God, it's so bad. Must do better.
It's
Note
all right.
self.
I'm sure they were all poised, ready and waiting, going refresh, refresh, refresh.
Note to self. Gonna do better. Gonna try and get actually on the live on time. Sorry.
Oh, I've got a notification that we gone live today. That's good.
Oh, that's good. Oh, so that live was good, wasn't it? That we did on the HM page.
Oh yes, with it was long enough when it's just you. When it's me there as well, it seems double. So it's my fault as well.
30 minutes. Lee's here. Hello, Lee. Hello.
Hey mate.
Hi. Facebook user. Who is that? Libby's here. Hello, Libby. Sarah's here. Are you doing your horses, Sarah? Becky's here. Hi, my darling. Lee says hello. Grace is here. Hello, Grace. How's things going? Well, it's been an interesting time in our school life recently. It's so busy, so many messages to get through, so many messages of support, so many messages from people worried about their horses, desperate for advice, desperate for information, scared that they miss the lives and they don't know what to do. Vivian's here. Hello. Emily's here. Hello, Emily. Randy's here. Hello again.
Hey mate.
Dawn's here.
Hi Dawn.
Sandra's here from Czech. Susan Garvin's here from Wales. Hello, Susan. Anne's here. Happy. Oh, it's not Irish Day today, is it? Is it? Is it?
What date is it today?
St. Patrick's Day.
Yes, it's St. Patrick's Day.
Is it? Thank you for reminding us, Anne. Take somebody from far away to remind us. Hi all, says Melissa. Trisha Ann says, hi, feeling lost without a lesson to watch. Oh, that's why we have these. That's why we have these lives. That'll help you. That'll help ease the pain of coming out of the challenges. It really does. I'm afraid, yoo-hoo, from Portugal. I'm afraid that's how people feel when they come. Oh, are we live still? You're suddenly all your avatars have disappeared. Are we still live?
Oh, I can see them all.
That's what people feel like when they come out of the 10-day challenge. Sorry, what am I talking about? The 3-day workshops, because we take them through this bubble for 3 intense days. And at the end of the 3 days, they're like, oh, I don't want it to end. And we go, we're gonna let you go earlier on the Sunday. You know, you can go at like 4:30, although we might dribble on with a horse or something for a little while long, but you can stay. They all stay. And then they're like, right, it's bye, and then there's lots of hugs and sometimes tears and affirmations by people, and then they're like hovering. People hover because they don't know what to do. So like, as soon as I leave here, I know I don't want this feeling to leave me. I don't want this feeling to go away, because it's been such a journey, and then they go. And then we try and keep, with they're part of our support group. So Trisha, you'll get put in the support group, the HM support group. But actually, you probably only need this one, because this one wasn't started back then. And yeah, bless them, bless you, because it feels like you're a little bit bereft. Well, that's okay. You've got these lives. We speak to you every day live, and we plan on doing that for quite some time to come. So don't feel lost. Yes, we've done Yahoo from Portugal. What's it like over there? Is it dark? Must be dark now. Yep, still live. Brilliant. Thanks, Lee. Hello, Lindsay and Garry. Someone wants to talk about high-low syndrome, whatever that is. Okay, we will talk about that. Withdrawal symptoms, says Becky. Grace says you need to do the 2 years now. You do. You see, you need to come. You need to be our first HMB Pro in Ocala, Florida is what you need. Guilty of being a big hoverer. Hello. It's good to have you all here this evening. Now, last night, I left you with a conundrum. Hi, also from France. I left you with a conundrum, right? We're doing this, aren't we now? The night before, it was all about bruises. Why does the horse not get rid of the bright red bruise? It's bright red until it grows out. Why is it on humans the bruise changes color? Well, I gave you that question the live before and you answered it and you all found out information about it. And it was, in fact, because of the breakdown of the constituents in the blood and hemoglobin, because the blood is still part or is around where all the other blood is, right, in the circulation, but the bruises in the horse's foot isn't, right, because it's locked in time, like a time capsule, so it never gets that opportunity to be broken down, so it just goes out like a bruise in your nail eventually grows out. So that was the time before. Now last night I said to you, so they often say horses don't get laminitis in their hind feet. Now, one of the reasons that they say that is because they're looking at stretch, right? Now, it's a biological impossibility that if the horse is being affected by laminitis, which is, we know, starts in the gut, and it is gut induced, dietary laminitis, and all the other things are just triggers. We know that happens. How on earth, with that circulatory system, going to cut off the back end? Is it going to do that? It can't do that, right? It's just a biological impossibility. There isn't some kind of block as soon as it gets to the no, all those nasty things in the blood are not going to filter down to the hind feet. Stop. That doesn't happen. Of course, if your horse is truly laminitic through dietary issues, it's going to hit the hind feet too, right? But what do we see? The difference between the front and the hind foot, we see stretch differences. We see that in the front foot, we've often got quite a lot of stretch. And in the hind foot, we don't appear to have as much stretch. And in some instances, no stretch. So why is that? And I guarantee to you, the answer is incredibly easy. But I guarantee to you, you will think around the subject and come up with all the usual things that people say. So I'm not, look, I'm only going to put that up really quickly. Are we ready? Coffee Bean 100 was fun. It's naughty of us, wasn't it, that?
That was
That's
very
so
naughty.
Okay, so Sarah, hi Vanya, hi darling. Sarah says, is it to do with weight bearing, i.e. road work, jumping, etc.? Horses are more on the forehand, and so that causes more stresses to the fronts. It was actually really hard to find information because you're not going to find it.
There isn't any.
We know what the answer is.
Yeah.
And it's simple. But no, you are going to struggle finding information on that. So I just want to hear. Now, weight bearing is one of them. Why does he always have to wander around as soon as I go live? Weight bearing is one of them. It isn't the answer, but that is one of the excuses that is given, or justifications that's given. That's why you see more stretch in the front feet. So they say, good morning. Oh, good morning from Australia. It comes up so quick. As I'm just about to press it, it flies up. Good morning from Australia. Dawn says it's because the horse carries most of its weight on the front feet. This is the myth you've been told. Haven't they, Garry?
Incorrect.
No.
Sorry,
and yet
Dawn.
That's two people now. Two people who have said that. Two. Right. Oh, three.
Yeah, that's 3.
Wait. Hang on. 4. Weight, balance, front, bigger. Oh God.
Sorry,
look,
Randy.
See. Hoof wall angle, lower heels. Ooh, getting warm.
Oh, getting
Getting
warm.
warm. The others will be like, what's she saying? The trim of the hind feet is different from the front. Ooh.
Oh, that's getting warm too.
That's even warmer. I think they're both quite warm there, because they don't tend to the same. They don't tend to do the same to the backs. Keep the I think you just found your answer. Is it to do with the trim? Is it the way the muscles stretch?
No.
Are the front hooves trimmed differently? Yes. They do a more normal trim on the hind hooves. Oh, look, see, now they're getting it. Can we have second chance?
Of course you can.
I've noticed that the back feet are trimmed differently. Well. Hi all, says Lynn. Hello, darling. Bethan says, hoof care. Now, that is the answer you have just found right there. Because on the front feet, and Garry and I used to talk about this years ago. We used to be driving along in the car and we'd be like, what is the reason? And it was like staring us right in the face. God, why is it?
It's like a wet kipper. It was like a wet kipper. It should have been going right in our face.
It's all to do. I used to say it's to do with the trim, Garry. It's to do with it. But it was so absolutely stupidly obvious, we never thought about it. So the front feet are trimmed, notoriously trimmed, different to the hind feet. That should not be the case because they have identical structures. The only difference with the front and the hind foot is the morphology in terms of the fact that hind feet tend to be narrower and front feet tend to be wider, because that is to do with the difference in how those where those limbs are. The front limbs are on the end of the pillars, if you like, and the front feet, and the hind feet are at the end of the springs and the levers. Okay, that's where the hind feet are. So that is why there is a change in morphology, but that is not why we have a difference in separation. The difference in separation is simply down to the different way that they are treated. You've only got to look at every single horse. You've only got to look at those horses that have shoes on the front and they don't have anything on the hind. What's that about? What's that about? Why is it the horse owner feels they can go barefoot on the hind feet, but they can't go barefoot on the front feet? They've been told it's a weight issue. No, it's not. It's all because of the trim. So we see absolutely loads of x-rays. I'll give you a for instance right now. We're taught now we have to really mind bend now. It is to do with the heel height. It is to do with the heel height. But I'm going to set you into a bit of a mind bender that might make you feel a little bit, oh God, I don't know now. Hang on, before I do that, I'm going to just keep you all in suspense. Yes. What's this say? Been missing you, Lee, she says. See, she's been missing you. So here's the mind bender. Now, if you've been watching our lives, you'll have kind of started to work this one out. We've been told, haven't we, forever, that laminitis is the cause of rotation. And yet we've told you that is not true. Rotation is caused by capsular distortion, misreading the capsule, and then the hoof care provider manipulating the capsule to make it look normal, right? That is what they do. They do that to make it look normal. They don't do it on the hind feet that often. It's very uncommon. Yes, you can get rotation in hind feet too. My pony had it all those many moons ago, and he was worse on his hinds than he was on his fronts, because the hoof care professional had let both the hinds and the fronts go up like Coke cans. But in the hinds, they were worse than the fronts. And I said to the vet, he's worse in his hinds than he is in this front. Vet says, no, they don't get laminitis in their hind feet. I'm like, oh, as a scientist, I'm kind of going, oh, that's interesting. And then we go in, then they x-ray, and back in the day, bit old fashioned, they didn't have digital computers there that you could see the x-ray straight away. No, you had to wait a couple of days. Then they'd call you back into the surgery, and then they'd put the x-rays up on the old white box, you know, proper films, nothing like a film and an x-ray. And I went away with them in an envelope because they were mine. Do you know, I don't even have, I've got them somewhere, but at least I took photographs of them. And he put them up on the light box, and he went, oh, well, that's a turn up. It does look like your horse has got laminitis in his hind feet. And I'm like, told you. Well, look, they're rotated in fact, they're worse in his hinds. Now, at that time, I didn't know any better. And at that time, I took it on the chin that all that laminitis, all those issues were caused by me. That rotation in his feet was my fault. I caused that. Now, granted, I didn't know a lot. I didn't know a lot at all. In fact, I was so confused. I thought that if I gave my horses hay, because I was aware of sort of starch, etc., then that would be crazy and that would be too much. I was so confused. I gave him bucket feeds. Oh, I'm not even going to go into the story. When you get onto the challenge, I tell you a little bit about the story, and you get to see a video of him as well. But I that's what I thought. It's all my fault. So I went about trying to understand laminitis, and eventually it got to the point where they'd given up on him and they were going to put him to sleep. And I went, no. I'd worked out by then there was something going wrong with the hooves as well, that it wasn't just the diet. So then off we go. So it's a long way around explaining why there's more separation in the front feet than the hind feet. So then off we go. We go and I start rehabbing him with you know, help from my husband, who's no longer with me. Is probably why, because I just became utterly obsessed. We're still good friends. And off we went rehabbing this pony. And blow me, over time, the rotation reversed. Why? Because we were bringing the heels down. Now, he was overweight at the time. He definitely was. And he definitely was struggling with diet issues. There's no doubt about that. So Sonny had the double whammy. But after I'd had him in the stable for 3 or 4 months, which is how long it was, he wasn't suffering from laminitis as we know it, from the gut laminitis at that point. I didn't know that. I thought I still hadn't got on top of it. Now, yes, I was giving him some bucket feeds, but primarily he was just on hay. So the problem with this pain and the fact that he was crippled wasn't down to laminitis as we know it. It was down to very poor hoof care, with his heels up in the air and him walking around on the tips of his pedal bone. Garry, you've got a good analogy for that, haven't you?
Oh, yes. So imagine well, actually, I've got to give all credit to my good lady wife, because she said, it's just like this. And I said, oh, I'm going to lick that for the live tonight. So imagine, and I don't like to anthropomorphize too much, but it could be construed the same way. Okay, you're going to be a ballerina for 24 hours. You're going to have your feet strapped up and you are going to walk on your toes for the next 24 hours that you are up on your feet. how do you think that your feet and your toes and your digits are going to feel when you are up on your toes like so? And obviously this is us. My fingers are my toes, and obviously my thumb should be my big toe. Same with the horse. Pedal bone. Hyper positive. How would you feel after 24 hours? And sometimes this might do this, and sometimes it might do that, and then it might do this again, but it's still hyper positive.
And why does it do that, Gary?
Then,
Gary, why might it go like that sometimes?
Well, prefer personal preference trimming. It will change.
Explain it to them.
Yeah, and then if then think about if you can't cope with that with 24 hours, try that for a number of years, because that is what we're dealing with when we're talking about osteonecrosis. And
being on the tip of your bone is agonizing. Okay, it's a balance issue, and that's what ballerinas have to work on. But imagine the pressure underneath the tip, the tip of the bone. It would eventually start to cause necrosis of your toes.
Of course it would.
But which is why ballerinas are told they're not allowed to go up onto their points for that long, because of the damage that it can cause. And they have big blocks on the end of those points as well, don't they? Now, if they do go and spend too much time on there, it causes them all kinds of problems. It actually also, it's a really bad thing to do, but it's so traditional, and it's because it looks elegant, which is why they do it. But it's very, 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 very bad for their body. But they learn to balance, and they learn to be able to do it through balance. But they can't keep up there for very long. If you've ever gone and watched ballet, they go up on their points and they twiddle around on their points and they come back down again. And then they go up on their points and they come back down again. But imagine, like Garry said, if you had to walk like that and you were a big, heavy beast, or even a little Shetland, and you had to walk around on your tips of your P3. Just show them P3 again. Show them that. Show them where it's meant to be on the side. If you do it from the side, look, show them how it's meant to be.
I got
that's right.
Just slightly off parallel. That's
and then watch it go up through the heels, as the heels are allowed to go up.
And usually the toes being chopped off, and then there's nothing to balance to, so then the sole gets thinner.
And then there you go. Until eventually, in this case, it's severe rotation, and osteonecrosis is inevitable. Ski tips are inevitable. Inevitable. Now, that doesn't tend to happen that much with the hind feet. It did with Sonny. He went up like Coke cans. Poor hoof care. The farrier didn't know what he was doing. Why? Because Sonny was having laminitis, and the feet were changing, and he was trying to tame them. But usually that's an uncommon case. But usually it's mainly the front feet. And you've got to think to yourself, why do we get rotation more in the front feet? Why do we get navicular more in the front feet? And rarely do we ever hear of it in the hind feet. Why do we have more separation in the front feet and not in the hind? And we've got to stop putting it down to weight. Mother Nature's not that silly that she was like, oh God, some of these horses out there are just going to get too heavy on their front legs, and then all hell will break loose. They'll get navicular. They'll need their toes chopped because they'll tear their hoof capsules off, and they'll end up having rotation, and they'll be walking around. No, the difference is the hoof care. And you, my friends, have been duped for many a year to believe that it's all down to laminitis, because it isn't. Because so many horses are walking around with rotated pedal bones, who are being told Their owners are being told by the vets that the horse has got raging laminitis, when in actual fact, the horse hasn't. What the horse has got, as I said before, is raging hoof care-itis. And the heels are more generally allowed, commonly up on the front than they are on the hinds. Any hoof care professional will tell you, and you probably found this yourself, that when you go and trim a horse's feet, you trim the front feet and the heels feel like there's more to trim on the front. You go to the hinds and there's less to. That's because the front are used differently than the hind feet. We can have horses that have shivers and they're not able to pick up their hind feet to be trimmed, but they're moving around. We got them going out. Very, very important. You've got a horse that's got shivers, got to be moving, and they look after their own back feet. How many times have you looked at front feet and gone, oh, they look worse than the hinds? And that's because, one, they wear them differently, slightly, because of the push and the springs from the hinds compared to the front. You've seen a horse pivot, haven't you? When they pivot away from another horse, or they come to a sliding stop, it's like skiing. It's their back feet that always are the ones that are doing that work. And they're spinning on their back feet. They're not spinning on the front feet. Those, but they're right. Okay. It's the heel height, because that differential between, Garry, if you put the pedal bone up and put your hand where the wall would be and show the difference in separation. Right. Now the heels are going to go up. Okay.
Oh.
That's it. Heels are going to go up. Right. Now stop just there. Just shift to it. That's it. Now, can you see that how it's narrower at the top and it's wider at the bottom? That is your wedge. That is the lamellar wedge. That is the stretch white line that you see is directly related to that width at the bottom. But at the hind feet, it ain't as big because they haven't raised the heels. And if you're truly laminitic, they'll still be a wedge, but it'll be smaller because the hind feet aren't fiddled about with like the front feet. And there are times, folks, when there are horses out there that truly aren't that laminitic, but they have stretch. And the reason they've got stretch is because the hoof care professionals been leaving their heels high, and the wall cannot in any way grow in next to P3. Mind bender. It's all about the heels. It's all about the heels. Emily says, if trimmed differently, surely the circulation will be different front to back. Oh, you can affect that circulation. Oh, yeah. Because the moment you put P3 in a compromising position, it just off its normal position. The second it starts going up, if every horse in the world was x-rayed right now that was under traditional hoof care, I guarantee to you, you would find a massive percentage with rotation, or what we consider would traditionally consider laminitis, right? But in actual fact, it's incorrect hoof care. And that is why those horses are not sound half the time. And so they stick them up in shoes and they don't feel quite as bad. Now, it's not all that, of course. They're footsore because of the diet and the management. Yes. But I guarantee to you, the way that they're being trimmed and the way they're being shod and basically allowing the heels to go up and chopping the toe off, you have got a ton of problems going on inside. And the size of the wedge is related to the size of the separation. Now, if we have got a horse who is being trimmed in the natural way, and the heels aren't allowed to go up high on either the front or the back, and they have a laminitic attack, because let's say the owner as something's happened, the horse has got out on grass, or it's been brewing because they've not really been keeping on top of the right you know, the track's been growing grass, or all kinds of reasons why, usually down to diet. Well, always down to diet, because the hoof care is not wrong. And they have an attack. When we go to, and then the hoof wall grows out. So P3 is in the right position. You can show that with your pedal bone. So P3 is in the right position, but the hoof wall begins to grow. It's lost its guide. So P3, that's a bit too hyperpositive. So yeah, there you go. But P3 is now growing out in that position because it's lost its guide. Okay. Now, if Garry was to keep his hands like that and make the hoof wall more upright to try and keep a better HPA, what would happen to the P3? If P3 was still attached, P3, because it is, P3 goes up as well, right? Because they have to raise the heels. That's it. And then we come along and we lower the heels. But if this is a horse, okay, thanks, Garry. If this is a horse where we've had them on the right system and they've gone through laminitis and separation, guess what happens? They have almost the same separation on the front as they do on the hinds. It's not different. There's a tiny little bit difference because there still is that differential between the heels on the front and that heels on the height when you come to take them down. There's barely any difference. They get separation coming through on the hinds and separation coming through on the fronts. It's barely any difference. So all of this, the reason that the separation is worse on the fronts than it is on the hinds is because of weight, etc., etc. Is nothing to do with that. It's to do with the incorrect hoof care. Cripples, says Bethan. Yes, if they go up on their points.
Up on their toes, yeah.
Yeah, awful. Yes, and don't we know it? Don't we know it? All the weight and pressure between the bone and the toe, killing the flesh and bone off. Exactly. I like it to ancient foot binding. Yeah, it is what we're doing. Becky says, yes, I went to see Swan Lake on Friday. Did you? And I thought about them on their toes and how awful it is just for entertainment and tradition. I know. I have noticed since Squire got laminitis, so I've been so focused on the fronts and eventually got the farrier to trim to the HSP and leave the toes. I now see his hinds are so upright, his coronet burrows on his heels are huge. What annoys me is before he got laminitis, I kept asking why he started getting flare in the hinds. I can't wait till I can trim myself. You'll be there soon. You'll be there soon. So the answer is the trimmer or farrier. That's your second chance. The answer is correct.
Absolutely.
Correct. That is your answer. The back legs are the engine. Indeed.
They are.
Who is holding you back? You will trim better than your farrier. It's true. She's just getting a bit of confidence. She's just going to get herself through the challenges and then she'll be there. I know. Another light. Ding, 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 ding. Light bulbs going off all over the world. Electricity crisis. Electricity crisis. Randy says we should call it trimmer's laminitis.
Oh.
No one now. I've started my Phoenix journey to become an HMB pro. Good girl. Sarah Lou, you will love it. We are almost finished and so enjoying it. Gonna miss it when it's over. I don't believe that for a minute.
I don't believe that for a minute either.
Lynn.
2 whole years of putting up with us.
Oh, God. Yes. Anyway, did you enjoy that? Was that interesting? I've got another one for you tonight. I've written it down from last night. Hopefully I'll think of another one for tomorrow night. But I did you enjoy that? It does take a bit of getting used to. It has to kind of bed in. And I know that you have to take our word for it, but you can all see it yourself. I know you can. When you go out and look at your own horse's feet, you will see there is a difference between the front and the back in terms of how much needs to be trimmed. So what the aim is, of course, is for us to, because we're co-trimmers, remember, but the aim for us is for our horses to go out and basically do as much as they possibly can themselves and trim their feet by walking, you know, lots and lots of miles a week. If you think about how many hours traditionally horses are kept in a stable to how many hours horses are allowed out walking, it's crazy, right? So 7 times 24, let's kind of just go, oh, I know, 7 times, let's say they're in the stable 20 hours a day and they get 4 hours turnout. That's 140 hours that they are stuck, not moving and not using their feet, as opposed to our horses, which are out for 168 hours all week, all year. All year. 168 times 52 means that my horses are walking around 8,736 hours all the time, compared to horses who are in their stable, if that's the traditional way that they're keeping them, 8,320 hours. Think about that. Think about that. Nobody ever does. Sometimes when I go to an owner and they're in that situation where they're in that cycle, and they don't even have to be on a livery yard, they could be private owners, but they're in the cycle of getting their horse, bringing it in, putting it in for overnight. So they could be in for a good 12 hours a night. Okay, so let's just look at that. So 7 times 12 is 84 hours a week. That's quite a long time. It's more than a working week. 84 hours a week stood stock still, because they come in every night. 84 hours a week times 52 weeks of the year, that's 4,368 hours that they are actually. And for anybody who thinks that I'm just the best mathematician there is on the earth, I have right in front of me my little calculator on the screen. That's 4,368 hours stood stock still, pretty much doing nothing, not wearing those feet, not moving those muscles. And then the irony is, and doesn't this get you every time? Then they go, what bag feeds can I use to help top line? What bag feeds can I feed my horse to get better muscling? To get better I've got the answer. I got the answer right for you. And I will have this conversation.
I would really like to gain muscle, and I have tried really, really hard by eating myself to death. And I have to say, the muscle disappears and my pot belly gets even bigger.
It's true. There's no feed on the earth.
There's no feed on the earth that can give you muscle. No, of course there isn't.
It's exercise, right? And that's what top line is. It's muscle. So you've really got to think about that. It's very, very important. It's very, very important. Totally, says Mary Ann. When the laminitis hoof grows out, after that, can you trim the wall around? We're always trimming the wall. As it's growing out, we're always trimming the wall. The wall just grows itself out. The distortion grows out, and eventually there's a new hoof that's grown in. We've shown you that, haven't we? We've shown you that.
The thing is, when so obviously you've got, when we've got a horse that goes down with laminitis that has always been trimmed correctly, there is always hoof wall on the ground, because it's always had that, because it hasn't had the toe chopped off. But what you're doing is you're reducing the toe from here. When you're balancing it, you're not reducing it this way. Does that make sense?
Remember this? We showed you yesterday. Was it yesterday? Was it yesterday? Do you remember this?
It was yesterday or the day before. I can't remember.
So this is a mare that Garry had rehabbed recently. It's very, very recent. We're showing you quite very recent stuff. So this trim here on the right, Garry, where's that now? Is that now? Was that your last trim?
Yes, that was first weekend in March.
And it all started last April, roughly. This horse was on a track system, but she was very sensitive, and she got an infection, and she was very poorly. And the result was that the guts all got confused and problematic, and caused her to get laminitis in the traditional way. But she was being trimmed correctly by Garry, so she got a ton of separation, and then it just grew out. And the difference between her front feet and her hind feet in separation terms wasn't huge. And let me see if I can find that. Let me see if I can find it.
So you can see in the left-hand image on so where you can see that the new healing angle's coming in and the stretch is growing out. So when I come along and trim, I'm actually trimming to the hard sole plane all the way round and balancing to that toe. So that toe is always being reduced. So where it is now, it slowly comes back as the healing angle gets further closer to the ground. So it's a double whammy. You've got the heel, the healing angle that's coming down, but then the toe, it can't stay out there forever because it wouldn't be balanced otherwise. And then it's reduced by trimming from underneath, not trimming back from chopping the toe off at the top.
I'm just getting you this, what the separation looks like now.
Okay.
Well, not now, but what the separation looked like between the fronts and the backs. Okay. Because she had the traditional laminitis, and the heels were different slightly because they're front and back, but barely any difference at all. You can see the difference in the, you can see, here we go. There you go. So this is the front foot when it was like this, and this is the hind foot at the same time. Can you see the same amount of, well, it's not the same, it's slightly different, like we said, because the heels needed to come down slightly more on this than they did on the fronts. Because Garry wasn't able to trim for 12 weeks while she was during her laminitic attack, because she just was crippled. Well, she was down. She was very, very, very poorly. So in that 12 weeks, that was the differential. So you had the heels that were slightly higher on the fronts than they were on the backs, which is why you have a change in the differential of the separation. That's the only difference. That's why there's more separation on the fronts than the hinds. But because she was being trimmed normally and it was traditional laminitis, you got separation on the fronts and the hinds. Does that make sense, my friends?
Oh, can you stick that picture back up as well? I want to add just a little bit more, so people can actually, because that undershot was really good.
This one?
Yeah. So particularly on the hind foot, which is the one that's on the right as you look at it, can you see that the waterline and the hoof wall is a little further forward before the white line separates? Can you see that? That's the hoof wall growing out. So that's the separation growing out. So when we're trimming, just to go back to when we're trimming from underneath to balance, every time that we take the heels down to the hard sole plane and the wall, and then we balance to the toe, where this will always work forward with that separation coming together and healing. And then therefore the toe eventually comes back. Did that make sense?
And here is what the foot looks like underneath now when it's like this. It's got to this stage.
Yeah.
Do you see? Yeah. So oh, where have you gone? So the hind foot, I think Garry sent me the pictures. I'm just trying to see. Oh, why don't you? Oh, right, there we go. So this is the hind foot now. You're going to love this. There you go. There you go. So in this one, you could marginally say it could still be there, but it's
a little bit.
If you want to say it, but I'm not.
It's not much.
And then we look at this one. Look, it's gone.
It's all gone.
It's gone. Isn't that crazy, crazy, dude? Do you see what we're trying to show you? And why this one looks rounder, because it's a front foot, and this one looks pointy and narrow because it's a hind foot. The reason this one looks rounder than this one is because this was looking pointy or a little bit more pointy because it had that separation.
Because it had the stretch. Yeah.
But you know something, you can't just chop it off, because if you chop it off and try and tame it, that doesn't stop laminitis. That doesn't stop because they don't sort out the diet and the management. That doesn't stop it. You've just got to do it. Let the horse heal. You just got to get out of the way. You got to just get out of the way.
Let the horse provide the support that it needs for that hoof to heal.
Thank you. I understand. Alison says impressive work. Yes.
Carolyn.
I'd like to take full credit. Sadly, I have to give it over to Garry. But Garry can't give full credit either. Because really...
Oh, no. It was down to the horse. It was down to the horse. It was down to the horse. And I have to say, she was so poorly. She was so poorly. She could not stand up for any more than 5 minutes at a time. And she was sweating and oh my goodness. I'm actually really shocked that she didn't colic, because she was in that much discomfort. It was actually a miracle. It was. She is a miracle pony. She really is.
Yeah, she pulled herself out of that one incredibly. But thanks to Mr. Hinton, who's the vet, you need to do a blood test because this is not right. She's been on a track. You need to find out if she's got an infection. And the vet's like, no, it's just standard laminitis.
It's really interesting, isn't it?
It's blood test.
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because if that pony, and this is being totally upfront and honest, if that pony hadn't been on a track for several years and been fed decent hay and the hay supplier hadn't changed, I don't think I would have suggested the blood test. Somebody was watching over us. Somebody was. And apparently the vet bet her house that there wouldn't be an infection. I haven't got the house, and neither is the owner.
That's not right. Emily says, did she get a toe callus? Well, not in the sense of the word that you think, because the toe wall was in play, right? And in fact,
the toe, because the inner hoof wall was in play at the front of the foot. Why would there be a need for a toe callus?
So you can see that when Garry balances, he's even able to actually trim to balance, and he gets a little bit of sole just there, and he gets this, and the same here when they're balancing, because you're balancing from the heels to the toe, and that's what reduces the toe, the length of the toe. Gradually, each trim you trim it, each trim you're balancing, each trim you're balancing, you're taking away a little bit from underneath each time, only what the horse is able to take. Only because you're following that
long toe, then slowly comes back,
which is what's going on.
Trimming it from underneath, here. But you can't force it. You can't force it.
That was what I was showing you the other day. That's how you do it traditionally. Lovely. And then this is how we do it. This horse you can get off the screen. Poor thing. Yeah. So.
And this took nearly a year for it to grow out. But what you've also got to remember is this horse was sound and back out with its mates, stomping around a track. I think it was about 8 to 10 weeks later, after her being on her deathbed.
And so this is Garry doing the trim now, right? But this is a better picture of it, because there's quite a bit of dirt in that line. There. This was in December. So So, oh, hello. What am I doing? So this looks like, oh, it's only just got there, but it wasn't. This was in December. She'd already grown it out by then. She grew out this by December. This is now. It just looks, it's because it's a massively dirty line. Yeah, right. She grew all that out. Garry was just there to take away the excess every day. It is it never gets old. Oh, it never gets old. It really never gets old. Anyway, we weren't meant to be talking about this tonight. But if you want to see more about that mare and you want to find out, and the actual owner of the mare was on the live with us the night we happened to be talking about her story in greater detail, go and watch The Proof is in the Hoof on my YouTube channel, because I put all these lives up on YouTube and that's the easiest place to find it. We are going to put them in the guides in the group to make it more easy for you to find, but The Proof is in the Hoof is where you'll find that story. I can't tell you where. Louise is here. She says, late to the party, been out trimming again. One of our final year students. Between the trims, does the horse suffer from thin soles, or what causes thin soles? No. No suffering.
No thin soles. No suffering from thin soles. What you can find in laminitic horses, that the foot seems to go very flat, and very often there's not a huge amount of concavity because of the inflammation in the foot. But you basically just go with it. You go with it. But as soon as it starts to heal, then all of it starts to go back together again.
And back to it loses.
It goes back to normal. Yeah.
You can have a very, very poorly foot that has been trimmed incorrectly over the years, and also has had, you know, incorrect diet management, and the soles are very poorly. A lot of the time, horses that are in shoes aren't able to stimulate sole. So if they've been in shoes, they come out of shoes, they're already laminitic. Those are the ones that tend to have the very poorly thin soles. Horses that are barefoot that have a laminitic attack don't have the very thin soles. It's the shod horses that we deal with that are just or have been in shoes in the past, where they've never been able to grow decent sole. So it can improve. It can, but no, you don't have a problem with that, because you've still got the toe wall pillar in place. And you've got to remember there's another reason for keeping that toe wall pillar in place. One, it's because it is the pillar of support. It doesn't affect the pillars of support of the horse's natural foot, whether it's a bit long or not. And the other reason is for growth rates, because that's why I had that picture with all the rings on. You need to keep the growth rates even. Okay. I keep asking my farrier if we have a hoof balance problem, as he appears to be walking more to the outside of the hoof on both front feet, but he doesn't seem to be able to answer my question. He walks like this on hard ground while on the yard. Some will. If he's not trimming correctly, you don't know whether your horse is walking properly or not. I have to tell you that. And I hate to tell you this, but most hoof care professionals aren't trimming properly. Okay, so some horses will land laterally, and very occasionally some will land medially. But generally, horses should land flat on a hard surface. And it's difficult when you're judging that by them walking next to you, because they've got to adjust their gait because of that. But the only way, who was that? I keep asking my family. The only way to find out for sure if what he's doing is correct is get more knowledge. Get more knowledge. Learn more. Understand the trim more. Go through the challenges, because that will really make a difference to you. Chat with my vet. He said, laminitis, you need to take the heels down. My response, well, if the hoof is balanced, there should not be a lot of heel to remove. I honestly, they're up and down. Always they'll say pretty much take the toe off. The ones that are cottoning on are going, ooh, take the heels down. Somebody said on our live tonight, when we were on the page, somebody said, I don't know who it was. Somebody said, you know what will happen? You won't get the credit for this, because suddenly somebody else will go, oh yeah, they've been watching Hoofing Marvelous and gone, good as the heels, get the heels down. And then they'll go, yes, I've been doing this in my practice for ages now. And you'd be like, damn it. But what we said is we don't care, because at the end of the day, we want to change the equine world. We'd like to not be in a job anymore. Wouldn't that be great? We don't want to do this. We don't want to keep turning up and seeing another toe chopped off. Lee Masters, who's watching tonight, that's what he did today. Probably Louise has seen another one. We don't want to keep turning up and having to reverse the rubbish that's been created, the poor hoof care. We don't want to keep doing that. We'd love to just turn up and just do a lovely little trim, a maintenance trim, because this horse just isn't moving quite as much as it would do normally if it was in the wild, let's say, or on lots in a big herd and on a big track. We'd love that, but that's not reality at the moment. That's what the vet told me. Mine is barefoot. Good. Hello. If the horse is not lame, do you look at the horse in movements before you trim? Not ever. Not ever. We do understand movement. Well, no, never say never. Yes, we do, but only when the horse is deemed lame. And the reason we do that is so that
when there's a problem.
The reason we do that is so I can say to the owner where the lameness is, because owners, vets, lots of people can't work out lameness. They've even been trialing machinery now or technical equipment that they can put on the animals so that can really define asymmetry and lameness. Now, there's a big difference between asymmetry and lameness. Is asymmetry conformational, and is it going to cause pain? No, not necessarily. Is asymmetry going to cause pain in the future? Possibly. But is it conformational, or is it the feet? I went to a conference very, very recently in the UK. Let me tell you about this conference. I'm not going to say what conference it was. It was very well organized, is what I will say about the conference. Impeccably well organized, and certainly it was very full over the 2 days that I went there, and we had some very, very interesting speakers. It was about scientists were standing up on the stage, vet researchers mainly, and they were not all vets, and they were standing up on the stage and talking about their research. And now I have to tell you about one of them. One lady, and her name is Sue Dyson. She is a vet, and she has been a very progressive, forward-thinking vet in lameness research. And one of the reasons I went there was to listen to her. And I doubt if Sue Dyson will ever see this YouTube video, but I very highly respect Sue Dyson, because she's made some massive changes in the equine world and getting people to understand that lameness isn't just down to the horse being poor conformation. It's also down to riding and tack and all of that. However, and there's a big but here, and maybe Sue would even admit this herself, the hoof care side of it is rarely thought about. Sue, in her presentation that she did on that day, put up pictures of hooves on the screen. To just kind of say, you know, hoof balance has got to be right, and that if the hooves aren't right, then obviously no hoof, no horse kind of thing. And the pictures she put up on the screen, I had Laura with me, who was one of our first year students, and Laura just kind of looked at the screen and then looked at me, and both of us were like, oh God, these horses were shod. But it wasn't that there was the problem. It was the fact that these horses were clearly having dietary issues. The feet were far too long, far too crazy in terms of nowhere near what a natural foot would look like. And then it kind of dawned on me a bit, that, which made me feel a little bit sick to my stomach, that Sue's done all this work all these years at looking at lameness research and hasn't really understood feet at all. And that a great deal of the lameness that she may have been putting down to other things were actually caused by the fact that the horse had terrible feet, but she didn't quite realize it. And it was skirted over, because it's the most important thing. If you don't get the feet right, then forget it. Everything else is going to go tits up, as they say. And it was a bit of a shock to me. I still hold her in a great high esteem, you know, but there's a disconnect. There's a massive disconnect there because she's not understood that. They're not trimmers. It's almost like that's something they don't need to know. They don't need to know that stuff. They just need a farrier to do that stuff. But the farrier doesn't know about the natural foot either. So they're all causing these problems in the horse's feet. And over time, and the reason the horse has got shoes on is because it can't cope barefoot. That should be a red warning sign in itself. So that was a bit shocking to me. I found
it also
that
highlights as well that the shocking hoof care that is out there is so abundant. It's like Bracy Clark said, something along the lines of, when you see it so often, it becomes normal.
You see, if you see
people, something often enough, and it's almost because your brain accepts it, because I see it so often, it is the norm. It isn't.
And Sue Dyson would admit, I dare say, that a great deal of her research, I mean, that's what she talked about on the day, were warm blood types, sports horses, horses that are in top competition, horses that people want to spend money with, and they will turn up and be part of the research and you know, not your average Joe pony, really, is what she's dealing with. Not that I'm saying there's any difference in terms of the feet, there isn't, but therefore, because she's dealing with all these top sport horses, 99.9% of them are shot. Does never see anything different. Never. But never really puts down anything to the fact that the feet are shocking. Laura and I were shocked that she was using that as an example of not anything bad, of something that was okay. It was shocking. I was shocked. Have I said that enough? How do you see if the horse goes on his toe when trotting then? When a horse walks, you don't see everything. A tendon pain could make the horse toe land. All right. So you can't ascertain foot landings by the naked eye correctly. You can't. You have to video your horse in a specific way and slow it right down because it goes too fast. Your eye is not able to perceive it correctly. And if a horse is walking toe first, predominantly, they have caudal pain in the back of their foot because they cannot land correctly on the back of their foot. So that's your first problem. If the horse is landing heel first, it's because the heels are too long, which we know pretty much is nearly every horse in the universe that is being trimmed incorrectly if they aren't following the heart-soul plane. So you can understand why people go, horses land heel first. No, they don't. Because they'd be the only ungulate in the Equus genus that actually does land heel first. Donkeys don't, zebras don't, and they'd be the only ungulate in the world other than an elephant that lands heel first. Funny, isn't it? Isn't it funny what people see and think is right? Oh, and to your question there, how do you see if the horse goes on his toe when trotting then? Again, if we feel there is put it this way, we're getting the diet right, we're getting the management right, and we're getting the feet right. There shouldn't be any problems as that horse moves on with their lameness, right? If there is an unsoundness, then we will watch that horse move and we will video it and we will slow-mo it, always. That's what we do. And we can pick up subtle lameness where people are going just a little bit of head nodding that people don't even notice. There was a piece of research done in Sweden. Over 700 odd horses, I think, were part of this, and all sports horses, all competition sports horses. They were using this technical piece of equipment. And when they went out to use it, they found a stonking amount of horses were asymmetrical or lame or not symmetrically landing. And the there were some horses, quite a high proportion of them, that were clearly, obviously lame to the researchers, and the trainer and the owner didn't even know. So there's thousands of millions probably out there that are lame, and you know, and let's face it, if they're in shoes, they're not sound. They're just not sound. They're what we call pseudo sound. And if we mention the state of the hooves, shoeing the post has become abusive. Yeah, that's right. They do.
Yeah.
Because you'll get always the shutdown is all horses are individual and I have to treat my horse to what my horse needs. And they just don't know. Scratch the surface and they run away, or they just shout at you, or they just tell you that you're an idiot. Can you tell me where P3 is positioned? Is it 1 centimeter before the apex of the frog? I haven't got my notes yet. Thereabouts. Thereabouts. Yeah. Elephants don't have hooves. They are what they call, they're not odd-toed ungulates. They're not even-toed ungulates. They're effectively what they call irregular ungulates. They don't quite fit into the ungulate category, but they've classed them as an ungulate because their nails are classed as hoof. And there's 2 other in that category that are classed. I want to see if I can get it for you. Oh my God, you'll think this is funny. I know you're going to think this is hilarious.
I actually don't know the answer, but I would imagine a rhino would be another one.
No.
No?
No. There's 2 others. You should know the answer, Garry. That's awful. It's not awful. You've just forgotten. Right, here we go. Here are the 3. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, come on. I want to get a good picture. That's a good picture. That one is. Speak to your people. Bring up the some thingies while I fiddle about.
Okay, so Nikki was answering the question. Oh, that's not Nikki. It's popped up again. Oh, it all pops up. So yes, tip P3 is approximately 1 centimeter in front of the true apex of the frog. Yeah, so the true apex, as long as it's the true apex, sometimes it can shift forward a bit and it's not the true apex, but not very often. When you watch a lot of dressage at Grand Prix level, a lot of the horses are lame and the judges don't see it. Yes, you are sadly right. You are sadly right. Trisha Ann is saying a hippo?
Nope.
No, I didn't. I was going to say hippo too. Nikki is saying camel?
Nope.
No, don't think it's camel. Sarah Lou is saying giraffe.
Nope, they're all ungulates.
Nope.
You're naming odd-toed and even-toed ungulates there. These are
Another one.
Ungulates, but they are irregular. And there's only 3 of them in this group. And the elephant is in one of them. And you're going to die when I tell you who the other 2 are, because you'll never get it in a million years unless you're Googling it right now. And they're part of the, I'll find it in a minute. They're part of the Uranotheria, which is also, so you've got the Artiodactyla, which are the even-toed ungulates, and those are swines, camels, deers, cows, that sort of thing. And then you've got the Perissodactyla, and I should imagine my second-year students now are actually going into shaking mode because they can remember all of this. The odd-toed ungulates, and those are the horses, the tapirs, the rhinoceroses, those are all in the odd toes. And then you get the other ungulates that don't quite fit into the odd-toed or the even-toed, but they're still ungulates because they still see them as hooved animals. And these are the 3. Like, the suspense is killing you, I know. There you go.
Oh, yes, now I remember.
Those are your 3, and they are all, and the reason that they are in the 3, because on the phylogenetic tree, these branched off, and they've all got very similar feet. Do you know what those animals are? Does everybody know what those animals are? The one on the little one on the left, my daughter absolutely, my youngest daughter absolutely loves. Does anybody know what they are? Wow, cool. Yes, we've got manatee. Yeah, right. We've got the manatee. It's not a take. Look at them all coming up with this. Right. So what's the little one on the left? And I'm going to show you the little one's feet, which is why they are in this category. There you go. And if I zoom in, hang on, I might be able to get a better picture of the manatee's feet or flippers. Right, here we go. Here's a manatees. And this is why they're all in the same category of this funny little ungulate category. This is a manatee. Okay, you're starting to see similarities between that and an elephant. Who knew what useless crap Lindsay can come up with?
John's just come across for the one on the left, an obese rat.
Here you go. This is why they are obese rat. This is why they're all in the same category. Do you see? Do you see the similarities? That's all horn. So that manatee, if I zoom in, look at his feet, his flippers, because they used to walk, right, on Earth. And that is before they really went to the water. Anybody walk the wombat? No, it's not a wombat, but Charlotte's got it. Charlotte's got it. It is, in fact. You want to put it up on the screen? And the dugongs. Okay, so she's put hyrax. It isn't. I spelled that. I didn't read it properly. It's not a hyrax. It's a hyax. It's a hyax. Seeing this way to
Seating its way to a good top line. Oh, that's funny.
Oh, this is great. Next time I go to the river, lots of manatee, I will have this bit of trivia. You will. Nikki says, never heard of them. Nikki, you've been through that module. Where were you? Were you asleep then? We covered it. We talked about them. We talked about this so long ago. She can't remember. I don't even know what module it was in. I don't know. It was blooming ages ago. There you go.
Perhaps it was information that went in that didn't need to be there because there was so much more important information. That's what my brain does.
Yes, a dugong or a manatee, they're the same. Effectively the same. Yeah. I think they were mentioned in our early lessons. They were. God, it just goes to show you guys don't remember stuff. Nikki's laughing now. All right.
I think Louise is just saying that.
Oh God, hilarious. There you go. A little bit of silly trivia. Wasn't that funny? All right. Now, I'm going to leave you with one thing because Garry and I have been desperately trying to show you this over the last few lives, because we want to show you, because many of you don't know what we're talking about when we talk about the challenges. And you're going to gain a lot, right, from our free stuff. You are. And I suggest you watch. Go and look on my Lindsay channel, my YouTube channel. Just look up Lindsay Setchell with an A, and you will get loads of free stuff, right? But the challenges take you through a process of learning about the horse, the evolution, the gut. And it's a steady process of learning. It's layered learning. And then you get through the first 15-day challenge, and then you get on to the 10-day challenge. And the 10-day challenge is all about the trim. And connected horsemanship and how you get the horse to stand still. Now, this is the foundation of what you need to know, the proper once you've got this, so you'll get piecemeal with all the other lessons and stuff, but you'll have questions. You'll have questions, whereas these should iron out the questions. Alison Frank says the challenges are brilliant. So why do we call them a challenge? We call them a challenge because we change the terminology from course, because I think people think a course, you know, you take a course, and I think even Trisha Ann at the very beginning was like, oh, you were calling them courses in the webinars and way back, and now you've changed it. Yeah, we have. We changed the terminology because we found out when we released it last year for the first time, it was our trial run, and they've changed quite a bit since then. But our trial run last year with our pilot study was that we found that some people were getting in and then just not getting that, because we're not there to move them along, so they were kind of losing a little bit of impetus. Other people were binge watching and just going through it, and that wasn't helping either. So we thought, well, how are we going to get these people to go through it day by day by day? Well, let's turn it into a challenge. Let's challenge them to go through it each day. So then you get enough, you get just enough in a day, you can't get any more. You're like, oh, I want another one, but you're not allowed, right? You've got to wait till the next day. And it's a slow period. It's not slow in terms of boring or anything, but it's slow in terms of we allow only so much given to you on each day. But we give you bonus stuff, and we give you bonus videos if you want to watch them too. And of course, you can top up with all of this, right? And so therefore, what you, I just was reading what Charlotte was putting there. Therefore, it might be, Charlotte, in fact, that it's called, it might be that they are called Hyrax Hyrax. I don't know. I don't know. Go and have a look and have some fun with that furry little thing, which I think's only about this big, or even smaller compared to a bloody great elephant. Anyway, go and have some fun with that. It'll be hilarious. Right. So the challenge. Let us show you what goes on in these challenges. First of all, I'm going to show you down the actual page that you'll find and why we've split it into two pages. Not pages, but oh, I don't know if I can find it now. There it is. Here. So can everybody see that? Join the Horse and Hoof Care Challenge, ready to rise to the challenge. Choose your location below. Now, the reason we've done that is because this one is in GB pounds, and this one is in US dollars. We couldn't change it to every currency, unfortunately, with the system that we're using. So that's why. So if we go and we have a look at the UK and Europe one, let's just go and click on that. They're no different. They're identical, incidentally, because you can click on either one you want. They're both the same. It's just that this one will end up as being in dollars. Now, this is the ultimate guide every horse owner needs. There's a picture of Garry. You get a nice little video. Go and watch that. I'm not going to play it here. Do you want me to play it? Oh, no, I haven't got time, have we? What is the 15-day challenge? It's a horse and hoof care course like no other. Is it a course or a challenge? It's a course which challenges you to transform the way you look at horse and hoof care. No other equine course will take you on a journey so in-depth as this. Flexible learning schedule, access pre-recorded lessons over 15 days. So it's roughly about an hour a day. Can you spend longer than that? Of course you can. It's a comprehensive curriculum. We dive into the 3 topics of diet management and hoof care. You're learning from nature's blueprint and you're correcting. This is the biggie. This is the biggie down here. Correcting misinformation. This is the bit that you will not learn anywhere else. That bit there. This is Geeta, and she said it's probably the best and most relevant online course I've participated in. I love that it delves into the details so you really understand it. It meant that I dared to completely change the diet management and trimming 100%, even though my mind often tried to make me waver, especially when talking to the vet and the trimmer. So go and read it. There's loads of stuff in there. It talks about how the horse soundness is your priority. This is all true stuff, right? There's a bit there on raising the standards of horse care. We talk about that. Lots and lots of stuff here. Read it, get yourself involved in it. And what do you get in this challenge, right? Well, you get me standing there with sat there with cannon bones. This is at Lee Master's place, actually, when I did this anatomy workshop. You get guidebooks on your 15-day challenge that go through it, so you can read about the lessons, so you can read about that. You get the 2 free ebooks, you get your certificate of completion, and you get to keep this stuff forever, well, for as long as the platform stays up, which will be forever. You can see it, look, you can watch it on your phone, or you can watch it on your computer, on any device, and it's a bundle, and you get all that, and it's £285. And if it's on the American site, I think it's $299, right? And you go and do that if you want, or you can go on and do the 10-day as well, but the 10-day follows that. And you just go down. But this is the bit I kind of wanted to show you, right? This is the challenge timeline. We've got welcome to the challenge is around about 40 minutes. And then we've got all sorts of things. Now it says 4+ hours, but the lesson itself is an hour and a half, right? In the first one, or an hour. This is 4+ hours over 2 to 6 days. Over the next 7 to 9 days, it's 3+ hours. So it's not a crazy amount. And you're talking about nutrition and mindful management, shifting your mindsets to the Phoenix way, exploring equine and leg anatomy. And if we watch this, tell me if you can hear it.
Welcome to the Phoenix 15.
Can you hear that, Garry?
Yeah.
Day Transformation Challenge, where we are on a mission to empower you to become a hoof hero for your beloved horse. Day 1 kicks off with a warm welcome and an essential tool, your challenge guidebook. This book is your companion throughout the journey. Days 2 to 5 are all about shifting mindsets. We'll explore the power of your thoughts and beliefs, setting the stage for transformation. You'll challenge preconceptions about traditional hoof care that might be holding your horse back, and we'll explore a holistic perspective that honours your horse's natural way of life. Shifting mindsets isn't just about the horse, it's about you too. Days 6 and 7 are dedicated to nurturing nutrition. Learn how to optimise your horse's diet and ensure that it is as species specific as possible. Days 8 to 10 invite you to embark on an exciting journey into the world of leg and hoof anatomy. You'll gain insights into the vital interplay between bones, joints, tendons and muscles as we explore the inner workings of your horse's lower limb. On day 11 takes us down the equine healing pathway, understanding how we can support our horse's natural healing process. And from days 12 to 15, we'll bring the learning to life through interactive sessions where you can fine-tune your knowledge. The Phoenix 15-Day Transformation Challenge is not just a challenge, it's a journey of knowledge, empowerment, and transformation.
There you go. And it just goes on and on. It tells you about the guidebooks, the bonus. This is fun. You're going to love these interactive quizzes. I enjoy that far too much. I like to play that. It makes me fun. It makes me laugh. So it's all online learning, right? You take your challenge from home. It's all from home, and you can use a dedicated mobile app too, although that is a little bit sticky at the moment because we've got our dev team working on that. That seems to be a bit of an issue. But all of this you can see through your browser. Is it worth it? Well, just ask people who have been through it, and they will tell you. They will tell you. I saw some signed up for both. What is the combined cost? I just know I'm going to want it all. I'm going to want it all. So if you're paying for it in GBP, it's 285 for the 15-day and 225. I can't remember now. I'd have to go and have a look. For the 10-day, it's 200 and something. So around about 500 roughly pounds or 500 roughly dollars. And that's for that. You can even upgrade in the 10-day challenge. In the 10-day challenge, you get to learn all about the hoof care and the trimming. And you also get a group session with Garry and I. And that group session, we talk about the guidelines of the trim. We go through all of that. But you can upgrade. You can upgrade to become a VIP hoof hero. And if you upgrade to be a VIP hoof hero, you get a personal session. That sounds a bit weird. Personal session. But you get a personal session. I wonder if I can find the 10-day. Probably can't. But there you go. So Trisha Ann says it's worth it. She says it's a great price. Ashley with Stumpy says, oh, I desperately want to do the challenges. Unfortunately, Building a Track will have to come first. As soon as that's paid, I'm on it. Go, girl. Do you need horse legs when you come to Ontario? We just changed the subject. Yes.
Yes.
We do. We talk to Kathy. She'll talk to you about that. Worth every penny. So well put together and presented. Right. A true transformation, says Trisha Rand. You know the quality that we give you guys. We're giving you free stuff all the time. This is quality stuff. And we've put all of that all together in those challenges. So it does. It is. It's fun. It is fun. I just arrived late here during my break for dinner. I think you mentioned you will come to Canada. Where do I find the info about dates? Not yet. Yes, we are coming to Canada. Hold on. We're getting the dates and the venues sorted, hopefully in the next 2 months. I know it sounds like a long time, but we've got to get it all. We've got to work out where we're going. We've got to work out who's going where. Accommodation, legs is our main problem and all of that. But come on to the challenge as well. Do that too. Second to none, she says. Where in Ontario? Don't know yet. Don't know. Can you do a personal session via video call as we trim? I.e., I trim, squire, and guide. That's under VIP. But Sarah, you have the added benefit that if you are going to become a professional, we're so lovely and nice that we give people who want to become professional HMB pros, we are now going to give them the 10-day challenge as a complimentary challenge. But you have to sign up for the course first. And when you do that, you get it free. And then we will help you personally. So there you go. And do we do consultations outside of the challenges? Yes, we do. We do. They are 150 euros, our consultations, and they go on for as long as you like, not just an hour. They go on for as long as you like. But if you go through the challenges and you go for the final one, which is the upgrade to VIP, which will cost you $199, that you get personal, a personal coaching session, but you also get a cap. And look at this. And you also get a special T-shirt saying, I'm a VIP. Garry, have you got your phone on you?
It's my camera.
Oh. Yeah. I'm a VIP hoof hero, the Phoenix way. You get one of those as well. So you get loads of extras, but you don't have to do that. You can just go and buy yourself a separate consultation if you like, but then you don't get all the very fancy, lovely things that you go with it. So we've tried to make it as interesting and as exciting, and you get stuff if you sign up to become a VIP. Here's the cap. Oh, ta-da! And it says VIP hoof hero, doing it the Phoenix way, I think. There you go. And this is the VIP one, but the hoof hero one that you get with the 10-day challenge is similar. It just doesn't have VIP written on it. Otherwise, it's the same. I'm a Hoof hero, but it doesn't have the VIP written on it. And on the back, you get that. That's what you get. Oh, so that you can wear it with pride, people. There you go. I hope you enjoyed that. Go and check out the challenges. Go and check out the links. I'll put the link in here, but in actual fact, you'll find it anywhere. Roughly, if you go to the featured section, you'll find a link to it anyway. Go and look. Go and check it out. Because I tell you now, and this is the truth, right? Garry and I are two people. I put 4 fingers up. We're two people. 3.5. Did you notice that the Phoenix group went up to 3.4 thousand over this weekend? It's 3.4 people in that group now. Granted, not everybody's posting all the time, but have you noticed how much the posts are going up? Our admins and our students can only do so much. They can only help so much, right? We can only help so much. We will end up we're spreading ourselves as thin as it is as we can. That's why we produced these challenges, because we're not going to get to everybody as much as we would love to. We're not. And do you know what will be even more amazing is when you've done these challenges, you'll be like quite a few other people who have already gone on workshops and indeed challenges now, who are getting in the group and are helping other people. You can do that because you'll have more knowledge, and you can get in the group and you can say, I've done a challenge. I've got a bit more information. I can help you. I can at least guide you a little bit better. So it empowers you. It makes you feel incredible. You've got all those amazing things. Garry and I know you want us to stay around and stick around, and we want to too, but we don't want to get exhausted. We'll be exhausted because there's so much that needs responding to. We're never going to get through all of you. So, and that will be the way as that group gets bigger.
We do our best, but look at how much the group has grown and how much it is needed. And that's come from all of you showing us how much this is needed. And yes, in 10 weeks, we're nearly up to 3,500 members, which is amazing. But oh my goodness, is it going to grow bigger? So we need more people that have this knowledge to be able to help. So it makes our life easier, because we have to work as well.
We do.
We can't just do it all for free. That is a reality. We want to offer you loads and loads and loads, and we want to help horses across the world. But like we said, this has turned into a bit of a runaway train, and it's become more of a horse welfare campaign. And we need you on the train.
We do.
That's what we need.
Get on the train and help us. Become a Hoof hero. Get in there and become a Hoof hero, and then you can be in that Phoenix group and be a true Phoenix warrior, because you can actually say to other people, I've been there, done it, do it, and then you'll learn. It is incredible. I don't know how you have the energy to do what you're already doing. So much free information. There's tons of it. I mean, you don't have to do the challenges, but you'll never get it all completely set and all as it should be. It won't all be you'll still have too many questions. Hi guys, I just read about the challenge. It comes up as $299. Is that converted? It's US dollars. That's US dollars. So you just have to convert to whatever. It's either in Great GBP, sterling, if you go to the GB site, or it's in US dollars, and you have to then just convert it to whatever that would be in your currency. But your bank will do that for you, and it will go out for you. Yeah. So where do I get info for the consultation? Well, you have to PM us, because we are quite scared about putting that information on the Phoenix group.
Because
Why?
we will be inundated, and we've got work to do.
Because we'll be inundated, and we'll end up having to charge £1,000 per consultation, just to stop people wanting to have consultations with us, because they're coming in a bit thick and fast and we haven't got time. So get in there before it goes up. That's all I can say, because it will. We want to help you all. We do. But you know, it's tough for just the two of us. We've created a monster. And you're on it.
We
You're
have.
part of it. You're on that train. So go check out the challenges, and we can't wait to get to know you better. That's the name. That's a song. I know it is. It's just going off in my
Oh
head.
God,
Right.
she's going to start singing again.
Gotta get to know you well. It's that one. That one. Right. Here's your final. If you've come right through the end of this live, 1 hour, 4 minutes, and I have a question for you. How come? This is your question for the night till tomorrow. How come your fingernails, you don't ever think about this, you've had your fingernails all your life. How many people have had their fingernails all their life? I have. Garry has. How come your fingernails keep getting longer and longer to the point where you literally have to file them off? And what has that got to do with horses' hooves? How do they grow and yet stay attached? Are they or are they not attached to your finger? Like you can't rip them off, can you? You can't rip them off. They're attached, yet they keep growing. How does that happen? How is that? Tomorrow, folks, tell us what that is tomorrow. I hope you've enjoyed this evening. Have a lovely evening. Have a lovely day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye.